Well, it's the morning, and I actually slept pretty good in this bag. So this is my first night in the Patagonia Fitz down sleeping bag, and I wasn't sure off the bat of how it would perform. I knew it would probably perform pretty well because this is the second iteration of the Patagonia Fitz sleeping bag. So if that tells you anything, that means that Patagonia is pretty committed to this design, and going down the road, it is going to be kind of the staple for the design of their sleeping bags. But it's got a couple unique features with it. For instance, it's got a middle zipper all the way. So normally sleeping bags are a side zip or sometimes they'll do a center zip, but it's like a quarter zip. Whereas this bag actually goes down all the way to the foot box, and the foot box is also, it's got a little extra room. So when you sleep with your feet up, your feet have lots of room, and even for last night, like tossing and turning, and more than enough room. It's actually kind of goes with the whole style of the sleeping bag. It's meant to accommodate more layers, so you can either just sleep in base layers in this, or if you wanted to, you could sleep in like a belay parka and insulated pants, and you'd have enough room. It wouldn't feel tight. It's definitely not a constricting mummy bag, which is definitely a highlight. It does have 800 fill power down in it, so it's very filled. It's got a lot of down in it. I was actually kind of surprised by how lofty it felt. It's maybe to a downside of that it's almost maybe a little bit too much. I noticed that the stuff sack that it comes with, I was having trouble trying to get it in the stuff sack, and I almost found that even when I got it in the stuff sack, like the sleeping bag was still trying to expand out of that. So even though I had like it cinched down, it was trying to come out. So it might just mean that there's a lot of fill power than they're leading on to with this, but either way, it's appreciated definitely at night. It's got kind of a cool style hood too. Kind of goes with their jackets and all that, where it's just more just a basic hoodie. It's got a pull cord right here and here. You do this in Patagonia's done this before with a couple of their jackets, where there's like a little thing right here where you just press down, and that's the release for the cord, and then you pull this, and you can either tighten it or you can loosen it. I had this pulled tight last night. It's kind of cold, but definitely makes sense for Patagonia to get into the sleeping bag market, because think about it, they can take all their technology that they have in all their jackets and just put it towards the sleeping bag. And I do got to say, it worked really well. It does have a dual zipper on it, so it is pretty cool that this thing can zip all the way, and then like let's say your feet get hot, you can unzip that. It's got 3 zippers on it. I didn't even know that. It's got 3 zippers, so like let's say your shins get warm. But if your shins get warm, you can just open it right here, so then it can start venting out there. It's a really cool design. I think it's one of the better designs you can have with a center zip system. I've seen a couple. I think the North Face does a couple of the center zip designs, and you know, they all have a different aspect, but I think this one definitely works with Patagonia. Also talking kind of just about basic things again, it does have a 20 denier nylon shell that is DWR treated. With most things Patagonia that are down, the down itself is not treated, but there is definitely a treatment on the shell fabric, and generally speaking, that treatment should be burly enough. Patagonia does go through rigorous testing, so it shouldn't be like a thing where you accidentally get a little moisture on it and then it's just ruined. It should last a while, but definitely know that the down isn't hydrophobic. So I mean, that might be a thing, but honestly, with a sleeping bag system, it's not too big of a deal. I mean, the only thing that you'd kind of have to worry about is if you're in an area where you can get a tropical downpour or something like that, you wouldn't really want to have this. But other than that, it works just fine. There is also like a little cell phone pocket inside, which is very much appreciated. But the other part to this too, because last night was again the first time I've used the sleeping bag itself, but it's also the first time I've used this synthetic insert. And Patagonia kind of uses this insert. They kind of sell it as it can be its own like ultralight quilt sort of thing. They kind of marketed it as like it it could stand alone as like a 45 degree or 55 degree bag. I definitely enjoyed it last night, having just that extra little bit of warmth in the bag. It's kind of it's your basic kind of like liner sort of. You just get in to it, you slip into it. It's got an elastic, so if you pull this over your shoulders, it's gonna make sure that seal's there. It's pretty interesting though, because they went with a Primaloft for this whole thing. So this whole thing is insulated still, rather than just like a liner being a sort of just like a fleece and all that. This is an actual insulated thing. It's very much like the Nano Puff that I have on here. Kind of feels like that, and I think in my head it was making more sense that if you had this and that's actually insulated, you know, I might bring this bag down from a 20 degree, maybe down to a 10 degree. And that's the other thing I should mention too, is that this is the 20 degree bag. So the 20 degree bags are color coded by blue on the outside and then orange on the inside, whereas the 35 degree bags are the flipped. It's orange on the outside and then blue on the inside. So that's how you can kind of tell. I think these bags all come in at, I think they have a short version, a long version, and a regular version. I have the regular version, and I stand right about like 5'11", 6 foot, and it worked perfect for me. I actually have a lot more room, and I was kind of worried that it'd be too much room, because I thought I'd normally like my sleeping bags to be a little more constraining, but it worked perfect, and I wouldn't want it any smaller. I think this is a great amount of room, but it is nice to have that extra room. And the fact that, again, like I could put this liner in and it was fine being in. I had still a lot of room. I could still put a belay jacket on and be perfectly fine and warm. So yeah, overall, great first impression of the Patagonia Fitz sleeping bag. I shouldn't have expected anything less, because it is Patagonia and they do put a lot of thought and effort into their things. But yeah, I'm excited to spend more nights in this bag. And yeah, once I spend some more nights in this bag, I'll definitely let you guys know how my opinion, if it's changed or if it stayed the same. Well, anyways, that's been the review. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.